Well, organizing in Maya. So organize your project. We'll look at that for in this part. Look a little bit at the outliner we've just seen before, how you can see stuff in your scene and how to group them or parent them. And we look at the layers and references and local searching the objects within the outliner. And of course, you need good naming. Most people, also me, make the mistake to just add and being busy and forgetting to put in the good names. So if you have a major project and work with other people together also, you can't find your stuff anymore. It will be like cube or poly, 100 and so forth. You don't know which is which. So it's very good to give a good name to it. And there's a special part about deleting history. We'll get into that in a second. So let's switch to Maya again. I just went into a new scene. Let's just add a cube. And we'll see here in the outliner, if you've got how to get there with Windows and an outliner, you get the outliner. For me, it's inside here. I can switch here what view I have, so I can switch to this view or that view. I can switch all these views here as well. I could, and then for getting a second window on the left here, I could go to panels. And within panels, I can say outliner, and then I can get an outliner here. But for now, I see then also on both sides the outliner, so I don't want that. So in here, I want a perspective view. So I can change these views here in the panels. If I want to add a camera, for example, as well, we did not explain this, but it's very handy to add a camera. So let me just say how to do that here. So here we have select a camera. And you can also create a camera from this view. So if you want a different view, it can be like this. I want a camera for like this, so create a camera from this view. It's also Control Shift C. So let's hit that, Control Shift C. So now you can see it created another perspective. Let's call this Cam 1. And we'll dive into cameras a little bit further, but I would like to see that you can change from this cam we're in now to perspective. And then move perspective view and then see that there's a camera here looking at the scene. And also with the panels, so you can change these panels accordingly. So we can add all kinds of stuff here. We're now adding the outliner on this side. You could also have it on a pop-up menu, but I like this. I like it at this moment. So I see there's a cube here, and you can search this as well. So you can say, okay, I only want to see the cam, for example. Now I see the camera, so you can have this search box. And also you can say, okay, I don't want to show lights, for example. There are now these default lights in it. And I can say, okay, I only want to see lights, or I don't want to see lights. So I can see lights. Oh yeah. Okay, the default lights are not shown, so let's go to rendering, add a light, and now there's directional light, and that's shown here. So, yeah, so the default lights are not shown because that's actually not real light. It's just mimicked for to see anything in the renderer at the moment. So to clear that, I can see everything again, or I want to show maybe just polygon objects, which is only this cube. There's nothing else as a polygon. So let's clear that again. So here you could also say like, oh, I have multiple cubes. Let's just duplicate this cube. Maybe let's even duplicate with offset. So I shift duplicate and move it a bit, and then shift duplicate again. So it will duplicate with offset. So, and you can find that into edit, and then you can see here duplicate with transform. I said with offset, but it's actually called with transform. And it will remember your last transform, what you did. It's like, it will also work when I go do that up. So if I shift and then do it up, it will also go up. It even will do it maybe with doing translation and rotation and everything. Let's see if that does it as well. Maybe even scale it up. And then it will just rotate it and then scale it at the same time. And when I press the Shift and D button. Yeah, so that's very handy as well. Also within Edit and Duplicate, there is a normal duplicate, that's Ctrl D. We just had this one. There's also the Ctrl Shift D, that's a special. And within that you can not just copy anything, but you can instance one. So that the first one, let's say this is the original cube, and you would like to instance copy this maybe in x 10 centimeters, because it's centimeters now away, and you want to have maybe 10 copies of this, and you apply, and then it's there. You can see it's this, and when I if I would change this cube, for example, I would go into you can see if I hit one vertex, I changed the rest as well. So this is the original one, and these are all instance copies, instance from this. This is really handy for, well, if you want to have multiple objects and just change one, like you see here. You could also think as handy as rendering, because this is only rendered. This is just an instance copy of this one. So there's less rendering capacity needed. So this wasn't in the sheets, but I think this is handy for you to know. So this duplication and so forth. And now you can also see there's multiple stuff, because now it's very handy to duplicate this actually, or to group this actually. So now this I would like to have in a group. So let's go to object mode again, and I can see, okay, these ones, all of these ones, I like to have in a group. So I select them, maybe not this one, and I can say, okay, maybe this was the last one I want to select. So this is the main of the node of the group. And so now I have this group, I have this group node, and the group node is also in the midst of the grid again. So maybe I would like to center the pivot. So let's go to modify, set pivot. And here you go, we're in the center of it, and I can still access the individual blocks and move them, and then go back to the group, and then move that as a whole.